Using her abilities of telekinesis, energy manipulation, and neuroelectric interfacing, Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, is one of the most dangerous and powerful women in the Marvel Universe. And before we get into the review, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you can be alerted to the latest reviews, news, and episodes when they drop. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits, and today we are taking a detailed look at the Marvel Legends Scarlet Witch figure as she appeared in the Wanda Vision spin-off on Disney Plus. We'll also be taking a body part by body part look at her sculpt as well as her accessories that she's packed with, so let's get right to it. And let's start off like we usually do by looking at the box, and the Scarlet Witch comes in the Marvel Legends series black packaging, and it's a window display box so you can see all of her cool accessories, plus this is a build-a-figure of Captain America, so you get one of his wing parts in this package. And looking at the side of the box, you see a nice picture of Elizabeth Olsen, aka the Scarlet Witch, and she looks like she is looking off into the distance. But one of my main gripes with the Marvel packaging is the reuse of all of the imagery all the way around. So it's the same picture on the side, it's the same picture on the back of the box, and it's the same picture on the other side of the box. And I wish they could be a little more creative and just give us a little more imagery to play with here. And now that the Scarlet Witch is out of the box, we can first take a look at her head sculpt, and I think Hasbro nailed the likeness of Elizabeth Olsen here. Whether you are looking at her dead on or from the side, there is no mistaking that this is Olsen, and I love the way that the eyes are done, and it's got the right amount of eyeshadow in here, and you can even see the iconic headdress that she has on, and you can see some of the sculpting detail here. And speaking of sculpting detail, her hair is amazing. It's very layered and it just looks very natural, and it looks like she is in the middle of conjuring some energy, and it just looks like her hair is flowing. It's a nice red mixed in with blacks, and I just think they've done this head sculpt really, really well. The lips are natural, the nose look great, and the cheekbones are fantastic. And what's very cool about this figure is that it incorporates the style of various comic book looks, from the iconic headpiece that she has on down to her ornate collar and even her fingerless glove design here. And typically in the comic she comes with a cape, but her flared skirt that she has on is really a stand-in for that. And one thing to note about her headpiece is it's actually sculpted onto her head, but it's made of a malleable material that you can bend and flex. So it's not super sculpted onto her head, that it's attached to her head, but you can manipulate it if you like. And before we take a look at the individual parts of Scarlet Witch's outfit, let's take a look at her overall paint app design. And her paint app is various shades of red with bright and vibrant glossy shades mixed in with flat matte reds and much darker shades of red. And her pants are black with a lot of line detail which run right down to her boots. And taking a closer look at the figure's torso, we can see up close that ornate collar piece that she has on, and you can also see the various shades of red with those matte and glossy finishes. You can also see a lot of texturing in her costume here, and I think they did a great job. There's a lot of defining lines in this figure, and a lot of lines that just bring a lot of depth and dimension to the Scarlet Witch sculpt. And turning the figure around, if we get a peek under her hair, you can see the costume design underneath, and you can see more defining lines, but they're really in a kind of a deep maroon reddish color here. And if the light is catching this right, you can also see the texturing detail that she has on her back as well. And taking a closer look at her arms are symmetrical, but her hands are not. So let's take a look at her right arm to start off, and you can see that very cool fingerless glove design that they've given her, and I love the way that her gloves come all the way up to her bicep there, and it just gives her a really cool look. You can see a lot of defining lines in the glove, and you can also see that texturing that's on her arm. And you can also see that she is doing more of a gestural pose here, like she is conjuring something, and you can also see that in her left arm as well. And her hands are different shapes and they are in different poses, so I think it just gives the figure a really cool look when you pose it. And moving down to her skirt, she does have a flared skirt design, and I love the layering that they've done on the skirt. And one of my favorite pieces is this layered piece that they have on her skirt here that wraps around the front all the way to the back. And you can also see some defining lines that they've given the skirt here. And I think the skirt is sculpted very naturally, and it just looks like she's wearing a piece of clothing. And another piece you might miss if you're not looking at this up close with a camera is the little belt buckle design that they have right dead center there. And it just gives the look a more complete look with the skirt and her shirt folding into her pants. And moving down to her thighs and her pants, you can see all the texturing that they put on her pants and the red lines going straight down, and you can also see the black defining lines that give her thighs an overall definition and an overall really cool look. And moving down the legs to her boots, you can see that her pants are flowing like natural pieces of clothing, and I love the way the boots are sculpted up here by the knee, and all the red lines continue down to the boots, and I love the shoe detail here. She's given a small heel and the shoes look really natural, and just her outfit looks great overall. And before we move on to Scarlet Witch's accessories, let's take a look at her articulation. And her head is on a ball joint, but she does have limited movement just because her hair sculpt is so chunky. Her shoulders are also on a ball joint, and she has articulation in her elbows, in her wrist. She also has a hinged wrist, so you can have some really cool poses here, like you can flip her wrist up like that. And she does have torso articulation, so she can move back and forth like that. And she also has thigh articulation, which you can move around in a circular motion. She does have a double jointed knee articulation, so there is one joint here and one joint here below the knee pad, and she does also have some ankle articulation as well. Now, the Scarlet Witch comes with a pair of matching accessories, so let's take a look at her hands first. And these hands are spellcasting hands, and they are made of a translucent pink, and if you zero in close, you can see some of the texturing detail that they have here, and both of these sets of hands match her normal hands. They're just in a very cool translucent pink color. And taking a look at her left hand, this hand also matches her normal left hand, and I love the way that the fingers are manipulated here. It just looks like she is in the middle of conjuring some sort of spell or casting some sort of magic blast on somebody. And she also comes with a pair of energy trail arm effects, and they are also cast in that same translucent pink, and they are squishy and they are bendy, and they actually look really cool on the figure, so let's gear her up with all of her accessories. But before we do that, if you're interested in the Build-A-Figure piece, this piece comes with Captain America's left wing piece, and you can see some of the detailing here. It looks like there is some battle damage over here, and it looks like it's the same on the other side. So if you are collecting all these figures, it's a cool piece to own. And here is the Scarlet Witch all geared up with her energy spell casting hand and her translucent energy effects, and I think they are really cool, although they do look a little large for her tiny arm here. But I do like to put one of the hands and make them a translucent hand and have the other hand a normal hand, because I think that just has a really cool effect. I think they did a fantastic job recreating Elizabeth Olsen's likeness as the Scarlet Witch, and her figure sculpt is highly detailed with the right mix of reds, which makes her a must-have for your collection. Her finger sculpt and her energy accessories are my favorite parts of this figure. What are your favorite aspects of this figure? Sound off in the comments below, and if you've liked this review, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel on your way out.